This is a program sponsored by LEAP, Linking Educators and Parents. We've been a program that's been around for about 8 years now, under the incredible guidance of a woman by the name of Marilyn Kay, who said not to mention her name. How did I do, Eric? Thank you very much. Thank you. We're going to start with our panel introducing themselves, and then I'll make an effort to moderate a brief discussion or a little bit of a 20-minute or so discussion with our panelists. And then we'll turn it to our audience and welcome comments or questions from you and play this totally by ear and see where we land. LEAP is an organization, just for your awareness, whose mission it is to bridge issues that face people with dyslexia and who learn differently with life success. We meet regularly, we sponsor other programs, and we're available on Facebook and on the web, and so that information is listed in the back, and you're welcome to get that too. And there's some handouts as you leave that you're all welcome to see also. Let's start by welcoming 3 experts, 3 people who have been there, done this in varied ways, shapes, and forms. They're going to tell you a little bit about who they are, what they do, and then I'll come at them with some stuff, and we'll see where we land. Cynthia starts.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Johnson. I'm a professor in speech and hearing science at the University of Illinois. I teach future speech-language pathologists, and my specialty is children's language impairments and children's language development. So my primary specialty is difficulties of acquiring spoken language, learning to use grammar and vocabulary, consonants and vowels, learning to use language socially in one's native language. I've been at the university for 34 years, and I have 3 sons. One's in a doctoral program, one just started as a freshman at the University of Illinois, and I have a son who's a junior in high school.
My name is Nan Goggin. I'm a professor at the School of Art and Design. My background is printmaking. I started a new media program here. But I'm director of the School of Art and Design right now, and I've been here for about 24 years. I have 2 children as well. My kids are out of college. One is studying T and will be going to grad school or working at Kendall, going to a cooking degree. And my daughter went to SAIC and got a degree in arts. And I'm a dyslexic.
Hello, my name is Kathy Robinson. I'm the Director of Disability Services at Parkland College, where I've been for 4.5 years. My career spans about 30 years, where I've served in various positions relative to my background in counseling and student development.
So let's go after the eye of the hurricane. I'm going to read a sentence to you and ask you to comment. College is meant for our best and brightest. Hardly are students with dyslexia and other learning challenges among our best and brightest. Comment.
Well, I'm at the University of Illinois. They do pride themselves on having students who are the best and brightest. But I have to say that when I teach undergraduate class with 140 students, and in that class, 4 to 6 of my students will leave to take their exams privately, and they get time and a half on their exams. So I'm imagining that in that group are individuals with dyslexia and learning disabilities, and they are often at the very top of my class of 140. I teach graduate classes. I taught one in the fall and then one this spring, and I have had 2 students in each of those graduate classes that takes their examinations privately over at the Disability Resources and Education Services. I had a handout back there. It's called DRES, and they're some of my best students. So I certainly would not think that intellectual giftedness has any, suffers any from dyslexia. In fact, it remains strongly intact, I would say.
Schnapp. Or whatever is said, I don't know. So yeah, so be it. So Cynthia, from your experience, lots of people, including those who learn differently with dyslexia, not only survive but thrive in the environment that's at the University of Illinois and some of the ways that you've seen it.
We brag at the University of Illinois that we have one of the highest ACT, SAT tests, that these kids are, what I like about when you come to the University of Illinois, they take several things into account. They look at your placement within your high school. They look at what you wrote. They look at what you did on your SAT, and there's a combination of they get that magical score. I will say, luckily, I was really good at math and science. I was always looked at very high, I'm very smart. My brother was actually a Rhodes Scholar. What was strange, though, when I took my, the SAT and I took the GRE, is they asked if I was a non-native speaker. So I do think still we measure today's intelligence, a huge part still in linear writing. And I think that it's really important today that we start measuring those skill sets in a different way, not just writing tests. And I think they are beginning to really do that in the high schools. But that ACT, SAT test, to me, is like a very scary object still in deciding who we select to come to the university. So that's still like kind of a...
And you'll see that listed as the biggest hurdle.
Yeah, truly. So as director of art, you find in your experience as a professor and as director of the department, lots of students who may not.
Oh yeah.
Can you comment on that?
So I would say, well, you gave us this lovely list of like amazing dyslexics, famous people, and if you look at the list, look at.
You can Google this. Famous people with dyslexia and.
There are a lot of actors and entertainers. There's inventors and scientists. There are people who think visually. So the arts, we were full of them. So what I usually do is we dip down that score a little bit. Like we asked the university, can we dip down below 25? Can we dip to 21 maybe? And let's look at the work that they're doing. And you can tell these kids are really brilliant kids. So that's what we really try to work with. So we do try to make those. And I actually think, in today's culture, it's an advantage, especially in the arts, I believe, to have to be more visual, to understand laterally is in today's culture much better.
So not only is there a place at a research renowned institution like the University of Illinois, there are faces attached to the place that matter and count and excel. Thanks. Kathy, Director of Disability Services, Parkland comment. College isn't meant for.
Well, college is meant for anyone who wants to try it. Obviously, there's a level, as you say, you take the best and brightest. Community colleges have open door policies where anyone has the opportunity to go. With technology now and with all the supports that we have, it's hard to say, the day is gone where you say you can't do this. Everybody has the right to try it. And college isn't for everyone, regardless of disability or not, but dyslexia, in my opinion, and I'm not finding in the research, dyslexia is not associated with intellect. So we have very smart people that happen to be dyslexic and happen to process things differently, but it's not associated with intellect. We have one of our upcoming graduates, Ryan Morrow, in the audience today. Ryan will earn his associate's in applied science and veterinary technology in 1 more month, and we're really proud of him. And Ryan will tell his story later. But
and we're looking forward to hearing from Ryan. As Kathy mentioned, and colleges and universities are neither equipped with the human, systemic, financial resources to handle this population of different learners, or nor are they equipped with the understanding it takes to support the success of these students at our colleges and universities. Please comment on that. Before you do, I talked, and I will leave your name out of this, with a university professor, and I will leave the college out of this, like I'll ask us to do later when we ask questions, who bemoans the fact that he has to put up with Ryan and others who learn differently, because that's not what we're here to do. I'm here to get them to do research, and I'm here to... So are we equipped or aren't we equipped at colleges and universities to deal with adults who learn differently?
Well, I gave you a handout of things I downloaded off the website for our disability resources and educational services. We really have extensive services at the University of Illinois. Began after World War II to provide services to individuals with physical disabilities, but the largest group of students served now are individuals who have learning challenges in some of the linear classrooms that we have. So last year, DRES, our arm that helps students, served 1,500 students, and the students who have learning challenges have grown 300% over the last several years. There are 4 clinical psychologists on staff. Kim Collins is the assistant director, and there's 1 learning disability specialist. Students are assigned a case manager. Their needs for accommodations are considered, and in my classes, my students come up to me privately and show me a letter of accommodation. I've worn a microphone for that fed the hearing aid of one of my students who was hearing impaired. I put captions on my videotapes so my hearing impaired students could enjoy the videotapes of children speaking. I send exams over to DRES every time I give an exam, because I always have students who take exams privately. I have had students who have terrible anxiety problems in the classroom and during test taking, and so we've dealt with that. It's really quite extensive what is provided. Also, books can be converted to audio books. PDF readers will convert them to audio books, and so those services are available. So all kinds of accommodations that probably didn't exist when I was going through school.
Comment on the first part of that, Nan, and then the first part being that we're not equipped to handle adults who learn differently.
I mean, when I first started teaching, I don't think we were. I mean, at the time, I think it was you try to find workarounds, really. You didn't admit that you had dyslexia. I mean, I didn't even know I had it until I was in college. I just thought I sucked at spelling bees. And please don't ask me to read out loud. I was lucky that I was really bright in different ways, so I was kind of labeled smart. But then it was like I was embarrassed to do these things in public. And it wasn't until I was in college that a teacher said, figured it out and told me to take a test. Now, I'm also an identical twin. And what's interesting is my twin sister can read better than I can. But I found out that if I could speed read, what I did is memorize shapes. And I was very good at visually connecting things. So that was a really help to me. And so I learned very quickly how to do that. And so then quickly when I was first teaching, we're talking a long time ago, I'm ancient. I would find kids that, I saw, oh my God, you could be a dyslexic. And then soon I found that kids were identifying themselves that way. And there's a lot of access. And then in the arts, to be honest, we hang out a lot. So it was much easier to find us. And we had different ways of learning and teaching and testing. It wasn't quite the same. So once you found your tribe, it was much easier. So at the university, I'm very impressed. And actually, my son, who has some reading disabilities, he went to Parkland. And it's much, there are some real advantages of going to a smaller, classroom situation and going and finding those links.
Sure.
And we may hear that from the Ryans of our world later about the size and all that. So in your own experience growing up and then being at the university now, you do find that if you learn to self-advocate and you learn to be self-aware and you learn to build your own bridges, that bridges are made for you to succeed, a la Nan Gavin, who's obviously very successful.
Well, at first, when I told someone I was dyslexic, they didn't know what to do with it, to be honest. And so I did it. But then it would be very quick. People could figure it out very quickly when they got my email. Or, don't ever ask me.
She works here?
Do not ask me to write down a phone number. So I had to sort of say it as a joke, sort of. And I don't think people ever took me seriously until, I think the hardest part was when, and I will not say who it was, but it was someone who hired me actually and said, well, you probably can't be the director because you need to write this stuff. And I said, well, okay. What if I will bring a team with, I always bring somebody who checks my writing. So you would bring somebody who's better at that. So you need a team of people whenever you work in a situation. And I think today, more than ever, collaboration is looked at as a very good thing, right? Mm-hmm. As opposed, there'd be, I think we're past the idea that there should be one smart person and somehow talk to God and nobody else.
So, Kathy, the thought too, we're not equipped. In fact, you deal with the whole department and at Parkland. So, speak.
We're constantly learning technology that wasn't available when you were, starting out. Technology has come so far now that students are, the hardest part is just to sit them down and get them trained. The Department of Rehabilitation Services has done a phenomenal job at helping students acquire the technology and the training. And so, gone is the day where people have to punt and, but staff, we're small. And as you know, state funding doesn't really support community colleges the way it used to. It used to be a third, and a third, and now I'm not sure how much we get at all. And so we have a small staff, but we're committed, obviously, for ADA compliance, Americans with Disabilities compliance, to make things happen. And so we're constantly learning how to help students be better. And faculty, that's a huge part, because you will get a faculty member that says, so what do I do? And school starts in 2 weeks, and I've got to do what? And so, we're better now where we work with students very early in the process so that we can identify the faculty members that they're going to have, and get the necessary training for all involved.
Yeah, I'm a parent or I'm an adult learner with dyslexia. I don't know if college is for me or not. How do I determine that, and how do I get a sense of whether you're the right space and place for me? Because college might not be for everyone, like you said, Kathy. Any comments on that thought?
Well, I think it depends on what you'd like to do in life, and if a college degree is required for the goals you've set for yourself. If you want to do what I wanted to do, be a speech-language pathologist, you need a college degree. Not only that, you need a graduate degree. So some of my students with dyslexia have set their sights on that. It's good to have an advocate in high school, someone who knows you well, who can write a letter of recommendation for you, that is something lateral and not something linear. It gets around some of the grades or some of the criteria that you might not meet for the college you've chosen. Choose your college well. Look to see if they have disability resources. Go visit and make sure what it really offers is what's on the web page. Talk to other undergraduates who are at that university or who have graduated from that university to see how welcoming it was. Try to figure out what to do about the foreign language requirement, which might be challenging for you, but you can actually petition to not be held to that standard. And I think choose your major wisely to play to your strengths. If you want to do things that don't require college, then hey, don't go to college. Yeah.
It's about passion.
Yeah.
You just have to figure out what it is that you want to do, and if you want to do it, nothing should stop you. It has nothing to do with dyslexia.
The transition from high school to college is pretty huge. There's nothing comparable to it. And so if you have family members graduate from high school, your sons, your daughters, your nephews, your nieces, bring them up to the Disability Services offices. Contact me, contact the counterparts at the U of I, at DRES. Part of it is just getting comfortable on a college campus. Yeah. Well, having lunch, coming out once a week. I meet parents all the time. We'll get together over the summer and I'll show their son or daughter a particular part of the campus, and then we'll meet again. And that's part of it. You don't know that you want to do it. because you just simply think of the institution you just left, your four-year high school experience, when in fact college is so very different.
Well, and that transition you talked about, Kathy, also, the time management. Mom ain't getting you up every day, you know.
Right.
It's on you now.
Right.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. And all those kind of things. Well, some incredible concrete suggestions. Ryan, if you don't mind, who are you? And Ryan said, I have a tendency to ramble. And I said, I know what that's like, Ryan. So I might cut you off. But who are you? And give us a little bit, if you don't mind, of your journey.
All right, well, I'm Ryan. I go to Parkland, and I've been there for going on 4 years now. I don't know how to explain my dyslexia because, like, I've always wanted to, like, have one word I can say and people understand. They go, "Oh, that's what it is. Okay, I understand what you are now." But when I say dyslexic, people go, "Oh, okay, so you have a little difficulty reading." Like, yeah. So, like, I can read, but I don't know what grade level I can put that at. But, like, my spelling is, I can't do it. It's just not even there. And so when people ask me what you are, I kind of know myself as a severe dyslexic because, like, reading is really difficult and spelling is next to impossible. So then I decided a long time ago when I was a little kid, I love animals, so I'm going to work with animals. So then I got in the field of being a veterinary technician. I started in a vet clinic, worked at kennels, and just kind of moved my way up. I almost lost one of my jobs because of being dyslexic, but then I said, F that, I'm going to go get this other job, and I got a job at an ER clinic. And long story short, I moved up here. And then after working in the ER clinics for a while, I realized I need that next step up. I'm already making decent money, and I need that letters behind my name, certified veterinary technician behind my name to live comfortably. So then that's when I decided I need to go to school, which, remembering high school was not a pleasant experience for me at all. It was just, I rebelled, I wasn't really good, and I think the only reason why they gave me my diploma is because they didn't want to deal with me anymore, honestly.
Get him out of here.
Pretty much. So then I decided to go to school, and one of the hardest things is I didn't know who to talk to, where to go to. It's just there's so many options, and I didn't know who to talk to. I was so lucky that I found DHS and Parkland.
What is DHS? For those who
Department
don't.
of Human Services. They actually are paying for my school and paid for all my assistant technology I have. So then, try to fast forward a little bit. So then I decided to go to Parkland and found DHS, which they are just so nice. There's been so many times that they just kind of helped me out, and I've heard this a lot of times. They're like, "Oh, we've never done this before. You're the first one." I'm like, "Yay! I get to be the first one again." But now, I remember in high school, they did have some kind of assistance, but they didn't have it like they had it now in high school. I actually had a teacher that followed me class to class to class to class to read for me. So I would go in the hall after we got our work, and me and the teacher would go in the hall with a desk, and that's how I did my work in high school. Now, if you can imagine being in high school with a teacher that followed you to class to class to class, and all the students are going, "Why is that teacher following you around?"
So you caught some grief, and you caught some mess, and you caught some hassle, and it felt like I'm stupid. And yeah.
And I did not have a good opinion of myself through high school. I just thought I was stupid. There's no way I can do it. But, like, I've always been taught at my job I'm really smart. I know how to ask questions. I know how to get around things. Like, because I work at an animal ER, so you have to be very political and compassionate and smart at all at the same time. And I've always been taught at those jobs that I know what I'm doing. But then going to school was scary because it's everything I hate in life is books and reading and paper writing. But I guess I need to talk about my technology now since I'm rambling.
Well, that's okay, because you found your passion.
Yes.
In a thing called animals. And you found strategies in people like Kathy Robinson. And you found ways through Department of Human Services, through DHS, to get support and financial assistance and all that. So you've melded all that together to the point where in May you will graduate from Park with your associate's degree. Everybody cross your fingers, because we're pulling for Ryan to do that. Yes, you can do that.
I hear you talking about working with people with dyslexia, but it's my understanding that dyslexia is not a diagnosis, and my son, who's in 7th grade at this point, who I'm struggling to get support because he's responded to intervention to the point where he no longer gets it and now is flunking again. I'm looking forward to high school and then subsequently to college, which I'm told I should do, but the administrators at the school are not responding to me talking about him being dyslexic. They are very responsive to me talking about him being ADHD. So when you work with college students to give them these supports, and I'm a college professor, so I also have students who have accommodations, how does that work with dyslexia not being a diagnosis?
This now became a 3-hour workshop.
I'm sorry.
You have a thing to be sorry about, because I think you touched on something that's very real and very deep and very complex. So thank you for how you asked it, how you framed it, truly. JJ has a comment to make as a person who's also at the university in relation to this. So who are you and what do you do, and then comment, please.
So my name is JJ Pianchi, and I'm the Applied Health Sciences Librarian, which includes DRES, Disability Services at the University of Illinois. And my comment is that in the library, we would consider that to be a print disability. Whether or not it's under the DSM or not, we would consider it to be a print disability, which means that we're going to do everything we can to accommodate their information needs. So whether that's a digitization of a book, or hooking them up with DRES, getting them a quiet room to study, whatever that kind of means, that's what we're going to do, because it would be a print disability. So.
Actually, if you talk, Patricia Malik is the director of DRES. If you talk, and she's quite an advocate for DRES, would you agree, Karen?
Yeah.
And if you ask them, they would say that they go above and beyond what the law requires, way beyond what the law requires.
We have about 30 staff colleagues of mine within our program and services.
This would be my comment, and it's unfair to you to leave it at this, and we're not going to necessarily leave it at this. A fourth member of our panel who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight would be a great person with whom to connect you with. Her name is Leslie Sullivan. She's a special education teacher locally, and I want to give you her name and contact information. So there, Leslie. You got in anyway, didn't you? But I do, because I think your question is fair, and it's not about college as much as it's about, I got a 7th grader, is what you said, right? And he responds to intervention. Now he's been intervened, and he's cured, and he's back, and he ain't cured.
He told me tonight when I told him where I was going, Mom, I don't have it anymore.
Got it. Right. On behalf of LEAP, Linking Educators and Parents, thanks to you for being here tonight. Thanks to you for viewing wherever you're viewing and whenever you're viewing. And incredible thanks to these 3 panelists, Cynthia, Nan, and Kathy, for the breadth of knowledge and awareness and the depth of talent that you all bring to this table of dyslexia awareness and action in our colleges and universities. It's happening. Thank you.